Hello everyone, welcome back to another Fallout 76 video. Are you ready for my new camp build? Actually, this is my first camp build video ever, and to be honest with you, I'm not a great builder, but it was time to change. I was tired of my old base, plus I wanted to get ready for Wastelanders, and I built an awesome swamp house from scratch. Let me show you how everything went. It had been a while since I touched my camp. By that I mean some 3 to 4 months at least. Well, in reality I had everything I needed there. True, the camp didn't look so great from the outside, but inside things were quite pleasant, structured and organized. I liked it very much, but I had a lot of ideas in mind, so it was time for a change, a radical change, to be precise. Now, you will hear this a lot during this video, but I really am not a great builder. I can decorate interiors fine, but building a camp structure that looks aesthetically pleasant is problematic for me. I hate copying other people too, so you can imagine, yeah, it's quite difficult. I spent about 2 hours coming up with something decent for my new swamp base. In the end, I think it was worth it, but before I jump to conclusions, let me share with you what I had in mind before rebuilding my entire base. I even made a list to make sure I don't forget anything. I know I would end up forgetting something otherwise. Remember, before building, you should do the planning. With a limited budget, that's what you should do if you want to have everything you had previously planned included in your final project. Alright, let's move on to the goals list. Well, as I was saying, my previous camp was awful. It looked like a brick cube with an extension on the side, literally. It looked very beginner level, let's put it that way. I disliked it for a long time, but I wasn't sure I could build something better, so I ended up letting it be for months, until I got enough of it and decided this was the moment. I love this location though, it's southeast from Barclay Station, so I just moved the camp a little bit and started building from zero. But before all of that, I wrote down everything I wanted to include in my swamp house, which includes 10 items. Quite a lot of stuff, I know, but it's probably not too far from what you have in your camp if you have something organized and on the realistic side too. So I wanted a crafting area, a bedroom with an office, a bathroom, a display area, a generator room, a companion room too, to prepare for Wastelanders, as well as a vending machine area, a veggie garden, and of course, a pleasant exterior appearance for my goddamn house. Something that you look from afar and it makes you proud of your work, not just some pile of bricks with plenty of utility inside. With all the goals in mind, it was time to start building, to unleash the constructor in me. I always wanted to have a house in the water, so I decided to build my foundations inside the water in a semi-open rectangle, with a tree right in the middle, which would later give me issues building the roof, but that's okay. Overall, I experimented a lot with the foundations and then the floors to get the perfect shape. Well, as perfect as it could get at the time. I suggest you to free build like I did if you are not sure about the shape of your house. Try out things until you're satisfied. It does take some time, but that's all part of the creative process. Unless you have a pre-existing house to copy from or something in mind already, then it is indeed difficult to start from zero, but this path will lead you to something unique and exclusive. Nobody will have a house like yours, so what do you have to lose here? Probably not much. Next, I moved on to the walls, but not just any walls. I personally like the brick walls, but they are heavy on the camp budget. You should always choose wooden walls to save budget and be able to build more. I know, wood looks quite bad, but you have a few options here. Just like the red wood walls, which look somewhat okay, At least it's way better than the normal beginner wood option. Now, you might want to experiment in this phase too. Honestly, I didn't know what format I wanted for my first floor, so I also changed it a little bit as I was building the walls. This is the time to change anything if you're not happy with it. Imagine changing parts of the house later on with all the furniture, decor, electricity and such. It would be a pain in the ass, a real one. So don't worry about changing whatever you feel like during the foundation and wall phase. When you move to the roof, it's totally up to you which ones you want to choose. They use the same amount of budget as far as I know. I ended up mixing a few different styles this time to create a more dynamic and elaborated effect. I certainly didn't want a plain, boring roof, so this choice was a smart one. I like it very much. I will show you the entire house at the end of this video, so hold on until then to see how everything looks like. As I mentioned, if you encountered any major issues with your construction, now it's the time to solve them. Rebuild problematic parts if you have no choice. I had a roof part that was blocked by the tree in the middle. I couldn't finish my roof no matter what I tried to do, so I ended up changing the shape of the first floor a little bit to accommodate the tree space and ensure I could finish my roof. I once covered a similar issue with carpets and it looks horrible, trust me. So I don't advise you to cover mistakes or issues in this case. Just take some time and build it right. It does make a huge difference at the very end. Imagine looking at your new house and then seeing a hole in the roof. It's just something you don't want to see after so much time and effort building from scratch. It's time to add some furniture to this house since most of the skeleton is now done. I started with the ground floor where I usually have my crafting area with all the workbenches and so on, stash and scrap boxes and of course some decoration to light up the mood a little bit. My kitchen also stays on the ground level with the fridge nearby just because it makes sense. I like to keep my benches close to each other to save space, but this trick is not a must-use. I usually put the camp platform in a spot that is hardly used, like under the stairs or near a workbench. Finally, I go on adding floor and wall decoration to the empty spaces to make the place a little bit more livable. I don't like my crafting area to look like a garage. I prefer a mixed environment with some commodities. If you're building on a very confined space, make sure to test all your workbenches to see if they are blocked or functional. Sometimes it looks like they are okay, but then you're not able to use them and it's quite bothersome after decorating everything. So remember this trick to spare you from some potential hassle later on. Moving to the first floor, things got very interesting. Again, I wasn't sure how to divide my space, and I ended up taking over 1 hour in this phase, building more floor, removing here, adding there, planning, adding items, removing items, changing their position, and so many other things. I ended up using strategies from tiny building, basically, to make sure I could meet my goals, stacking things on top of each other and adding furniture in not so conventional angles and very close to one another. I didn't have a lot of space left and I still had lots of rooms to add, so I had to work with what I had. I also started using normal wood walls and red wood walls to make the inner divisions, a little bit of mixing to create a more dynamic and interesting effect. It took me a while to figure everything out, but the final result satisfied me. So far, so good. I started to refurbish the bedroom with a small office and lounge spaces. It's like 3 in 1 in a small space. At first I thought it would be too much, but I actually like it. It is a complex room, there's a lot more than you would expect. I had to make all the divisions as I mentioned before, including the high walls. I also started adding my roof lamps here and there. Too bad I had to redo it later on with wall paints. Then in the next room, it became my main display room with lots of trophies, my display cases, my terminal, and a small launch table with drinks. I lost myself adding so many things in this room, including animal mounted heads, as many as I could. Then I had to rearrange them because there was too many and the sizes were not fitting each other. Yeah, I had to organize things during a long while, I would say. Sadly, I couldn't add them all as I wanted. Anyway, this is not exactly what I had in mind for this room, but it's also not a bad concept. I don't dislike it. However, I might be forced to remake it later on if I make a new display case video, for example. Finally, the last room is my small bathroom with broken stuff because I don't have the clean, intact versions from the Atomic Shop. Oh well, it's still a bathroom and it's something every human needs. Or should, even if it's just a game. Well, all the basic necessities are now in the house, so let's move along. After being done placing everything in my base, it's time to get some power, don't you think? I don't know about you, but I like to create a generator room isolated from all the other rooms, because it does a lot of noise and it's not pleasant at all. I usually make sure it's close to my natural water source, so I can easily power up my water purifier later when I place it. And my interior rooms as well. Remember when I mentioned that I'm not a great builder? Well, I still can power up my base with fashion. I just can't find my way around the electric cables under and between the walls. So I'm still using the old-fashioned ways to power up my camp with the generic connectors. I know, visually it looks like noise, visual pollution, but oh well, at least it works. At least I have power, so that's the most important to me. Since I like to have a decontamination shower, but I don't like to be on the way of anyone, I added it to this room too. I can use it whenever I want, and that's fine. It's there on the corner, and that's perfect. We are almost done, but I also need a small area to add my player vending machines. Can't forget business, right? Since I was satisfied with my house, I just added a small terrace past my generator room. I did some more building, foundations and half wooden walls to make the place a little bit more welcoming. Now, I also added my Sentatron and some music too to tidy up this area of the camp. Some lights, some more decor, you know. Now, we are getting there. I had no defense here altogether, so I decided to add a missile turret above the vending area. I just added a wooden floor to support it and, well, to give it increased range, and that's it. One more goal has been accomplished and that feels good. What else is there to build? A few more things. Nope, I haven't forgotten about the companions room. As you probably know, the Wastelanders DLC is going live in less than 2 months, in April 7, and we will get introduced to dozens of NPCs, including companions with romance options. Spicy, huh? Well, right now I don't know who will be my companion, but one thing I know for sure, I want to get a roommate to live with me at my cozy swamp house, so back to work. I created an extra room which will later become my companion's room. I made sure to choose a neutral color, in this case mostly green and yellow. I mean, I don't know if my companion will be male or female, so better safer than sorry here. I decided to make things quite simple with a bed, a small table, a shelf, storage room and one of my favorite weapons on display. It's a small and compact room with everything they could possibly need. There's also space for improvement in the future if need be. For now, I'm more than happy with this room. Too bad it won't have much of an use in the following month and a half. It's life. Wastelanders, come live already, we're all waiting for you. Alright, now it's time to plant my veggie garden around the house. I created most of my garden in the front part around the water edge. The ground is quite flat there, which is convenient. Planting on uneven terrain can give you a lot of issues. I also planted some tattoos around the tree in the middle. It makes things a little bit more pleasant and interesting to look at. Moreover, I added some fruit trees around my vending machine area and some berries around the house too, which I later moved because it looked weird and it was not so nice to walk around bushes, if you know what I mean. They're now together with most of my veggies in the water part. Well, it's my small veggie garden, I always have one. It's handy to do some daily and weekly challenges, plus you always have food this way. It's a win-win scenario. It's time to wrap up or finalize the project. I went ahead and changed the colors of my walls and flooring. Now this is risky to do because when you change the color of your walls, any items placed on the walls will automatically get sent to your camp stash. In other words, you need to add all the wall decors again if you change the wall color. I actually didn't know about this before building. Now I do. Make sure to use any budget left if you feel something is missing. It's space that is not being used, so why not? I added some more animal mounted heads to my display room, and after I was done, the budget was quite full, let me tell you that much. Anyway, you might be wondering what is the final result after all this building. How does my swamp house look like inside out? Well, let me give you a free tour. This is the final result. If you get the chance to visit my base right now, you'll notice some small differences, but in general, it's pretty much the same as in this video. It took me over 4 hours to build and arrange everything you saw, but it was quite fun actually. It was worth the time in the end. Honestly, I need a lot more training. I feel like I've improved a little bit, but I'm still a fairly bad builder. With time, we will get there, hopefully. As for now, I'm very happy with my new swamp house. What do you guys think about it? What would you improve here if you could? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Also, don't forget this is my first camp build video ever, but as I said, there is always room for improvement. On the other hand, if you enjoyed what you saw and you'd like to see more, then make sure to leave a like and to subscribe if you just got here. Thank you in advance. If you'd like to support me even further, then go ahead and check my Patreon page. I've got tiers for everyone. The link is right below the video as always. I'm Marta Branco, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon in the next one. Until then, take care of yourselves. Adios, bye bye!